Greetings, my friends, and welcome to Discourse number 4 of From the First Church of the Presence of God. I want to apologize I haven't done it before yet, but for the first time on air, let me apologize for the imperfect quality of the video and the sound. It's the camera I have. I've gotten another one here, but I haven't figured out how really to use it yet in this context. Once I do, I'm hoping this is going to be an improvement. For the meantime, I hope you will bear with me, and perhaps the message will prove to be more important than the limitations of the medium. In any case, welcome to the virtual cathedral. Close your eyes and imagine the walls of this cathedral rising far upward, high into the air. Above you, you see the groined vault of the ceiling. The joined ribs are like the human body because we are in your body. On all sides, you see the massive stained glass windows through which the streaming sun, the physical eye of God, is shining. This cathedral is your body. It's an adytum that houses the eternal God, should you choose to recognize it. And that God is beyond light. But light is as close as we're going to get. Light is the substance of God. It grows ever finer and finer as you come around the curves of the spiral stairway of our spiritual evolution. It becomes too bright to see finally, and then it becomes completely dark because our eyes are not capable of seeing this light. It's a mystery. Light, getting finer and finer and becoming ever more and more conscious. The dream stuff of our world is woven out of light. It's a false light, but it's still light. And it's a mystery. It moves from mystery to mystery. It is a mystery behind and a mystery in front of you, but it's no mystery because you are the mystery, really. And when you've solved that, well, you've solved all the mysteries that there are. There aren't any more mysteries. So, welcome to the First Church of the Presence of God. This is where we celebrate God's presence. We recognize the indwelling consciousness of the Almighty God who is resident within us. And as we identify more and more with that consciousness, more and more light enters in, and we become able to see more clearly. We see in a way where we're not even using our eyes. They are eyes of a sort. They are our spiritual eyes. God said, "Let there be light." So light was the first thing that he created, and so out of that light, everything else has come into being. Everything that you see is an extension of sunlight. You know, it's all a permutation of sunlight. As I said, I think even in the last video, it's something vibrating at a different rate than something else, and that is what gives it its peculiar identity. But light is not just the light of creation, it's also a light of revelation as well. Both matter and force are forms of light. In India, they call it prana and ether. And one is force, motion, and the other is matter, and all the various varieties of matter. But what is the soul, and what is the spirit? One could say the soul is the real you, and the spirit is that particle of God that inhabits you, that animates you, and Your soul is a vehicle that travels from life to life, carrying with it all the wisdom and experience it learned, or that it didn't learn, which it's not carrying with it now. And it would be ever so much better for us if we thought of light at every opportunity. If we let our minds become incandescent with the presence of light. If we were to become aware that light is in everything. Whoops, this is PocketNet informing me that people are responding to the post I just put up, and I don't think you want to hear this noise keep coming in. I'm sorry that it had happened anyway. Where was I? See, there are two schools of thought concerning the soul, concerning existence, concerning everything. One school of thought is Advaita, and it believes that everything is one. It is all some portion or part of God in the whole. And that when you come to realization, when you finally come to see everything as it really is and yourself as you really are, you become God. You are that one God that everyone becomes when they become God. And it happens rarely, especially in times like this, because these are times of intense materialism. People are very much caught up in the things of the world instead of in things of the spirit. Anyway, the Advaitas, I call them the singularists. But then there's the Dvaitist, and they're the dualist. And this is what I prefer to be. And because both of them exist simultaneously. It is all one and inseparable exists, and the duality exists as well. And you might ask why it is that I prefer the duality and not the singularity, where you can be, the master of all things and God himself, and that is the purpose of creation, to bring you to that realization anyway. Well, because I like to celebrate God, okay? I'd rather to be eternally the servant, eternally the worshiper, eternally the celebrator. So I choose duality, because this is how I want it to be. I am in essence a poet. I think that's what I've always been in all of my lives, some variable of that. And I think all of us, we have some specific identity of what we are that defines us. And that it may vary from lifetime to lifetime, but it's still us. And, I want to celebrate God's presence. I want to write poems about God, which I do. I want to write songs about God, which I do. I want to do videos about God, which I'm presently doing. I want to do everything I can about God. I want to serve God, and I want to celebrate God. And I want to always kind of be the servant and something greater that I am giving my love and adoration to. And that's me. I want to sing in the ecstatic dance of celebration of God and weave poetry and song out of the cloth of my being. I want to dance and sing in the light. Yeah. I want to honor the light. I want to adore the light forever and ever. Bright worlds of eternal light becoming ever more and more refined and more beautiful. And that is what I want. I want to be intentionally and consciously apart so I can do Hosanna, hey, Zanna, forever and ever, yeah. And so what would you like to do? You got a choice, okay? This is what I choose. But most importantly today, and what I really want to bring to your attention, is there is nothing higher than light for you, okay? Light has a power in it that you cannot possibly even imagine yet until you experience it. And light is and becomes increasingly more so conscious, okay? And it becomes a light, like a divine luminous wisdom within your mind. It can become. as you more and more focus upon the light and let the light, express through you and allow yourself to become illuminated. And what you're doing is you're building a solar body, and you're going to be able to travel all sorts of very fine and wonderful places when you do that. When I was in prison, God protected me. At one place there was 900 black men and 36 white men. And these were violent men. They wanted to do terrible things to me. Some of them didn't get to because God protected me. Did happen to a whole lot of other people. It was a very bad period. And prisons then were, well, I guess they're still just as bad. I don't know. I haven't been in there in a while. And God protected me not just from the dangers without and around me, but he protected me from the dangers within. Weakness, uncertainty, insecurity, all those things that would have made me pray. But the interesting thing is that I stayed on message while I was in jail, and even as I spoke to these groups, these killers, these rapists, some of which had killed quite a bit more than once, and some of which had raped a bit more than once. And as time passed, then they started coming to me and asking me about God and things like that, and came and started asking me about books to read, and could they talk to me, and little by little they exposed a lot of the terrible fear that they lived with and the stuff that was going on inside them, and I was able to provide, I thought, what it seems now, quite a service while I was there. And well, you just can't imagine what it's like in those places. Then I was in another place, it was a gladiator school, okay? And you can just imagine what it means by a gladiator school. And I thrived there as well. I didn't just persevere and manage. I thrived. And this was all because of God. And the government wanted to destroy me and knew where it was putting me. But he wanted to destroy me because I was an unknown quantity. They didn't know what to do with someone like me. I had had this Kundalini experience, and it had conferred powers upon me. I was able to do things. Yet I was so young and callow, and I knew so little, but there was not much restraining this sort of thing. So I attracted quite a following of people, many, many people in the Park DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C. And the police became very aware of me, of course, and they set me up in an entrapment thing. And they were looking to destroy me. They knew where they were sending me. But I got out. And then, but I kept on being me. And then 20 years later, it happened again. They set out to entrap me. Well, this time, didn't work out so well for them. You should have been there in the courtroom. I'm the only one in the history of the state Hawaii that I was in who ever beat these charges, okay, by virtue of entrapment. And as a result, I have no criminal record today. And God came into that courtroom, and the things that he did was unbelievable. And it was all for the purpose of demonstration. This is what God did to show what can happen when someone has the power of God in their life. And the truth is, I was an incredible screw up, okay? I did all kinds of things badly and wrong. I was extremely impulsive. I had a lot of monkeys on my back and different things, but here I am today. I survived it. I came out of it. I'm very much unlike how I might have been at different times. And this is once more proof positive about putting your faith in God. Because no matter what you get put through, and I got put through the ringer, see, it worked out. I can still walk. I'm still breathing, and God only knows how and why that actually happened. And I realized finally the government was terribly afraid of me because I was a force, and they didn't know what to do. And now they leave me completely alone. Somehow word filtered back up into the temporal high zones, the high temporal zones where they make the decisions about people like But, you know, many people have served God have gone down, they have died, they've been martyred for the cause of truth and such. And I do not see myself as any great shakes in that regard, but I am at least a servant of the Almighty. It is what I seek to be. And I want to pass on to you today a very powerful meditation presented pretty much in my own words. I'm going to have to make it up on the fly. It just occurred to me to talk about it. And I got it from reading Mikhail Ivanov's book, Light is a Living Spirit. And that's what compelled me to come and do this broadcast today, the next day after I just did one yesterday, because I read some passages in here that just profoundly impacted upon me. And what he says about light and the power of light. And what happens if you just start visualizing and thinking about light all the time and encouraging the light to enter into you and seeking the light and just all things alike. He talks about going down the street and standing outside a shop window and just pretending you're looking at stuff in the window while you're going to imagine the light. You know, to cover yourself in case, like, people think you're crazy because you stopped on the sidewalk. Maybe you don't want to do it there. But he says, as often as it occurs to you all through your day, and this is what I'm kind of talking about here, to every moment as you can think about it, when it occurs to you, oh yeah, let me think about the light. Let me realize the light, that light is already presently in me. First of all, your soul is a light, and it is a source of illumination. The soul generates its own light. Yeah. And it borrows that light, of course, from the spirit, which it houses, as the spirit is within the soul, and the soul is a vehicle that travels from life to life, from this body to the next body. Hopefully for me, there aren't any more. However, I was in some very, very dangerous, the heck, that thing came on again. Good grief. I don't know what to say. Strange things happen. Anyway, speaking of strange things, there are a lot of forces about to arrange themselves in the sky, so expect some unusual events. And usually what happens when strange relationships between the planets begin to manifest. So there you go. But anyway, celebrate the light. It's such a simple thing. And how often do we think about the light, the conscious light? We talk about the light of God, you know, the light of the world. We talk about turning on the lights, turning off the lights. We talk about, I wish I could get some light. But in any case, if you can find yourself seeking out the light of God within, seeking illumination and such, you're going to attract this because you'll be showing a certain degree of sincerity. Angels are around us all the time, okay? We're their big project, humanity, okay? And, you know, I'm sure I've said it before, they circle the world all day long, and they're looking down to see who has light. And if you're shining with some light, you know, because the light is expressing in you, or you have a certain degree of love, for love is a light, okay? And love is going to be expressing the light, and the angels are going to see it. And they're going to come down and they're going to check on you and see, oh, what is going on here? And they're going to go back and tell God about you. Oh, believe me, that happens. That's exactly what happens. And you want to attract these angels, because then once you have gotten their attention, and then they've told God about you, and God said, oh, you know, this and that, and of course he knows everything already anyway. Well, then these angels, then they start to keep their eye on you, okay? Or maybe you get one appointed to you. Apparently all of us have, all right, a guardian angel anyway. Yes? But it's possible to attract more than one angel, and it's possible to attract very, very powerful forces of light, again, you know, that will serve you and look out for you and inform you. In fact, the great work, you've heard me talk about this many times, and this is a spiritual effort that well, we're all engaged in it, whether we know it or not anyway, but if we're not unconsciously engaged and we're waiting for evolution to take care of it, it could take forever. But anyway, the great work to find is the knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel. I also refer to self-realization as being a portion of that great work. But think about it, the knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel. So that's the knowledge of who it is. So I guess that's important to know which and what angel it is. And the ability to converse back and forth. Now I have something like that because I have this conversation going on all day long sometimes. And so maybe it's already occurred. I don't know, but it hasn't occurred at any earth-shaking level of profundity. But it doesn't need to, does it? It just needs to be existing. And this happening to me is part of why I'm talking to you, because I happen to know from it happening to me that it could well happen to you and will happen to you if you show the persistence and determination necessary to get the attention that is required in order for these things to be visited upon you. And of course, you're going to be put through all kinds of, trials and tribulations. It comes with the territory because it weeds out those who are committed and have the courage of their convictions and are willing to walk that hard highway, and those who don't, those who are just, I mentioned this before, at least in the Post, certainly, a poem by Stephen Crane. I think it's called The Wayfarer. And in the poem, he says, I was looking for the road to truth, and I would pass somebody on the road one day, and I asked them, and they said, oh yes, it's right over there. You see that green field? Just head up into that. And he says, and so I went down there thinking, wow, this is fantastic. And then I came upon it, and I saw that each blade of grass was a sharp knife. And I said to myself, doubtless there's an easier way. Well, no, there isn't. It's going to flay you and fillet you, and it's going to strip you down to nothing. You have to lose all the garbage and the assumed bullshit about yourself that doesn't exist. Yeah, you got to be stripped naked of all this stuff, and not everybody's up to that. I mean, eventually you wind up there anyway, so you might as well get it done now, because you know what waits to the other end of that? And in increasing degrees as you continue, bliss, joy, my cup runneth over. Yeah, that's what you get. A lot of people are out here and all over the place seeking happiness, okay? Do they not realize, and I don't think they do, that in the pursuit of happiness, you are required to accept the same amount of unhappiness. Yeah, it's a law. It's a rule. In the world of opposites, they always balance themselves out, okay? Pain and pleasure, the same kind of thing. And all of these things are ephemeral and transitory, and they don't have any real meaning, They just don't. So, I mean, God knows I found out. I experienced it. I know it's all BS. But some of it's not BS. The part with the joy and the bliss. Because that's what the presence of God brings you. That's what it confers upon you. There's this tremendous sense of words fail. I don't really know how to articulate it. But I can tell you there ain't nothing like it. It's not like religion and wearing crazy clothes like some kind of bizarre drag queen like they do in some of these churches. And all this. And the word saith unto, and Jacob did go in unto them, and then he did habitate in a... It's training wheels on a bicycle. That's for people who can't keep their balance and they need the constrictions and confines of religion to keep them on the straight and narrow. And that straight and narrow causes you to judge everybody right and left, and they're not our kind, or they're not like us, and you see sin everywhere, and these people are wrong, those people are wrong. Nobody knows what anything is anyway. Love is the possession that you get by giving it, okay? And love is the way in which you can know God. There is not some other way. Love, is the extension of God forward. And it is in the incredible complexities and wonders of God that you come to understand God's nature. But God otherwise is beyond comprehension. You never know. I don't care who you are. So, yeah, my friends. Celebrating the presence of God, just going about through your day, recognizing that God is within you, constantly referring back to that presence within you concerning everything you think and say and do, and leaving that in the hands of that presence. It's a little difficult in the beginning, but you persevere. You don't give up. And by God, it becomes easier. And I'm saying, I went through decades of outrageous suffering, Some of you have some idea, but now you don't really. And believe me, some of the psychological sides of it and some of the, and sometimes you just don't think there's going to be any light. Light! We're back to light again. Sometimes you just don't think there will be, and yet you just don't give up because you know it's there within you. And by golly, you're going to get there. And that's the thing. If you don't give up, you will. You are promised this. It's a guarantee. You are guaranteed to achieve if you don't give up. If you're willing to recognize your failings and your problems and and to be contrite, and to seek to be perpetually redeemed with the grace of God, which is overflowing and everlasting and incomprehensible. There's no way to measure or understand the grace of God. It can't be done because we anthropomorphize everything. We see it in the context of our own human limitations, and this is that and that's this. And none of it is anything you think it is because you don't know. You don't know. And that's what you better get right with from the get-go, that you don't know. And if you don't know, God does. Then God knows, see, and he can inform you when you need to know it. And that's what you've got an intuition for. And I've proved these things out beyond a shadow of a doubt. I know they're true and I know they work because I went and found out. I paid the price of getting it. And sometimes the price of getting it are all the errors you make in the process of trying to get it, and the shame you go through, and all this, the screw-ups you make in life, and the memories you left with people that you wish you hadn't done because you weren't that guy, but for a little while you were when you were out of your mind. But these are all things you got to come to terms with, and you've got to live with, and you rise up beyond it. You just put it all aside. It says, put off the old man, for all you are new, you are reborn in Christ. And that's a reality, my friends. It's right there for you. You just have to claim it. Meanwhile, you got all the rest of this out here if that's going to make you happy. But I see that it doesn't make anyone happy. I see it just makes people very, very sad and very, very old. And it eventually kills them. And they don't have any light. There's a bunch of foolish virgins running around all over the place. And, yeah. I like vaping. It's a little something for me to do. I don't have that many things I can do or do anymore, And, I'm going to be leaving you now because the playoffs are on, and that's one terrestrial thing I still take some joy in, although my team's not in this year. But at least I can watch teams I don't like get beat, I hope. Anyway, we've come to the end of this, and hopefully, out of this, whatever, you've got some things that were useful. And please let me know about it. Comment if you can, and let me know in any of the mediums. As you know, there are ways to reach me. And may love and light both awaken in you, and may this desire to possess and express them just consume you and overcome you, so that you have no other passion but that. That is my prayer for you, and that's what I pray may come true for you. And bless you all. And thank you for taking the time to hear me out. And it is now time to go. So God bless you, everyone. Yes, indeed.